Hey, hello, leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So today, I want to recognize a real life hero. And I saw this on last Saturday's College Game Day on ESPN, but I saw it and I wanted to just talk about it on here because this is a true, real life example of somebody running to a challenge. And they shared on the show that it was the Saturday prior, so it was 2 weeks ago, that an Army football player, Larry Pickett Jr., and his dad, Larry Pickett Sr., saved a man's life who had been in a bad car accident. And they had pictures of this car, and the car had run into an electric pole, utility pole, and it was snapped off, and there was wires hanging everywhere. And I guess the Pickett's, Larry's sister and her daughter, was filming the entire event where they ran in. But they ran in, they opened up the car, and you could see them dragging the guy out of the car, and then they kind of carried him across the road. And the thing that stood out to me is how when they interviewed Larry afterwards, he said that they stopped and they didn't even think about it. They ran past other spectators that were just standing around watching. And they ran right past him and they pulled the driver out, carried him across the road. And as soon as they got across the road, the car burst into flames. So now, when I say run to your challenges, they ran into danger. These two, Larry Jr. and Sr., are both heroes. And, they shared the whole story, and all the guys on College Game Day clapped afterwards. And, they made a nice shout out to him. And they were so committed to running to the challenge that they had no regard to their own life. Right before this car burst into flames, they ran. They saw the wires, the live electric wires hanging down. They saw the telephone pole snapped in half. They probably smelled gas leaking because it burst into flames. Who knows? But with all that said, they didn't even hesitate. They just ran in. And they ran into danger. That's a real life hero. And, whenever stuff like that happens, I think we should recognize people. I think we should talk about them to others, tell others about it, because this stuff in this world happens. There's real life heroes out there. The other day when I was talking about high performing leaders are the exception, well, I'll tell you, Larry Jr. and Sr. are the exception. They stopped, and this was late at night, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. It's very dark, and other people were just sitting there watching, and Larry Jr. and Sr. had no regard for their own safety, ran in. They just knew somebody was in danger. They ran in to help them. And when you think about that, we have opportunities like this almost every day to run into situations where others are just sitting back, being an observer, just watching chaos happen, just watching crap hit the fan, just watching and waiting for somebody to screw up so they could laugh or post it on freaking social media. This is the world we live in. And Larry and his dad, they are the exception. Now, yeah, they had somebody with them that was filming it, and it did probably go on social media, but they actually took action. And, when we run into scary situations, challenging situations where others are just sitting back and watching it play out, man, And especially when it's for the betterment of others. I mean, just standing up for somebody. Well, we are, in my opinion, heroes. So today, I want you to think about what situations are around you that are challenging, maybe scary, that others are just too afraid to go in and try, or maybe it's saying something to somebody else for the betterment of others. So just think about that, because I really, truly believe that we face opportunities every day where people are sitting around watching when we could actually help if we choose to. So it's up to you. High-performing leaders, they're the exception. They're going to run into that challenge. And a lot of times with no regard to their own safety, to help other people. And that's what high-performing leaders are all about, helping other people. And a shout out to College Game Day on ESPN for highlighting this, because this is a special moment, and I'm proud that they did highlight this and bring recognition to Larry, who's on, like I said, the Army football team. He should have chose Air Force, of course, but, you know, he's still a hero. Hey, that's it for today. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and come on back tomorrow for the weekend edition. Until then, run to your challenges. We'll see you.